Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hey, friends. Welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme, and today you are in for a treat. We are going to get a chance to have a candid conversation with one of my absolute best friends, Jan Reed. You guys, she has been an instrumental part of my life. She's actually one of the coaches that works with me inside of my company, I Am Life by Design, and she does subconscious belief programming for my clients. And you guys, there's so many reasons that I have Jan be a part of my core ecosystem inside of my company. She's so talented with a background of many, many years as an educator. In fact, she happened to be my son's second grade teacher. That's how we officially met. And when she decided to retire, she just basically went into life coaching and got a certification with Mary Morrissey. And we're going to talk about some of that stuff here in just a moment. But the really reason that I asked you to be on the show, Jan, is because you've been such an inspiration to me as far as watching you live out the principles that you teach and really knowing that you can be an inspiration to the people that are listening to the show. So I'm just so glad you're here.
Thank you. Excuse me. I'm really glad to be here. This is exciting for me, especially when I'm with one of my very favorite people too. So
well, I just gotta say that you and I both geek out on all things metaphysics and brain science. Like there's so many things we're in alignment with. And so for you guys that are listening who may be new to the show, one of the things that I talk about a lot is manifestation. And when we talk about manifestation, it's really the things that we desire that come to fruition. And we want to be able to experience the things that we dream of. And we want to be able to see evidence of those things in our lifetime. And one of the principles, the principles that I utilize in my manifestation equation is to stay in high vibes. And that really just allows us to leverage law vibration and allow for the things that are in alignment with that frequency to come into our life, whether that be just success in money, whether that be conversations that light us up, solutions that pop into our mind, or cool creative ideas to use in our business. Staying in high vibes is so important. But Jan, you and I both know that life sometimes, doesn't it?
Yep, it sure does.
Yeah. And one of the things that I love about Jan, you guys, is that she and I just have fun together. Like we get to be silly and sarcastic and just like, I don't know, silly is the best way for me to describe,
Yes.
When we get together, we have fun, right? Like fun was both of our word of the year a couple of years ago.
It was.
And so, there's things that Jan has had to go through in her life in the last couple of years that really did kind of knock the wind out of her sails. And it's so fun to see you have that light in your eye, but I know that it's not always easy to show up in that frequency when you are faced with things. So what I would love for you to do, Jan, is tell us a little bit about the last couple of years. Just let us walk through that journey, if you wouldn't mind, so that we can understand the depth of what you've had to endure in order to keep going one foot in front of the other. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yes. I had been married for 44 years, and my husband was struggling with a few things, but I came home one day and found he wasn't home, and I had to figure out where he was. And it wasn't until late at night, and I called my daughter and asked her about it. And, where's your dad? Is he at your house? And he wasn't anywhere to be found. So all of a sudden I found a note that he had left. And usually we put it in one place, but he had it in another spot. So I didn't find it right away. And he said, I've gone hunting with our dog. And I went, oh my gosh. And at that time it was like 10 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, maybe he's having a beer with Dan or whatever the case may be. Anyway, I called Kelly and I said, I'm going to go looking for him because he was going pheasant hunting.
Mhm.
So we went and looked, couldn't find him. So I went home and I called dispatch and boom. I went, so then Kelly said, well, I'm going to come and see you, Mom. I'm going to go to your house. I said, okay. And she said, oh, I see Dad's van. So she went over and she found him. And that was the hard part because I was on the phone with her when she found him, and he had taken his life, and it was very obvious to her. So I called dispatch and told them that we'd found him, and they came out and helped. So I was going to go out and be with my daughter, and they turned me around and said, Dan, we need you to go back to the house because we have a deputy waiting for you. And not only was a deputy there, but also a chaplain, which was lovely, but I didn't want to be there. But they kept us in touch and stuff. And finally, they allowed Kelly to go home or come to my place. So there began my journey, just, all the stuff. The next day, I didn't get to bed till like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I woke up really early because I had to let people know about this.
Yeah.
My son, first of all, which was shocking and sad for him, of course. And then just his sister, his mom. I didn't have to call her. I let his sister do that. But then I called my family, and I was blessed that my sister Joan she said, do you want me to come over? I said, yes. And she lives in South Dakota. So that was a blessing. But I was just numb. It was kind of numb. And, that was a blessing too, that I was able to still manage. And as I went through the days, getting ready for, his wake, his funeral, there's something about preparing for that. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of the people who showed up. Yeah. When the wake started, we knew there was going to be a lot of people, but we didn't know just how many. Mm-hmm. And at first I was like, wow. But before I'd even gone to the wake, I had taken a few minutes for myself mm-hmm. on who I got to be during this time. Yeah. And I was very present with that. I wanted it to be a celebration of him. Mm-hmm. And that's really what it turned into for all the people. And after it was over, we had hundreds and hundreds of people. My son said, Mom, I was really dreading this, but he goes, all these people love Dad and love us. He goes, I felt energized. And here's one little thing that I thought was really, really fun. This funeral director, we had made a playlist, and you couldn't really hear it because people were talking, but at the end, she looks at me, yeah. And I knew what she meant because one of the songs on our playlist was, Hey, Mickey, You're So Fine. So we turned it on, and all of us started dancing mm-hmm. and, looking at the videos that they had there. And I thought, oh, that was perfect. It was perfect. It just made it better. Mm-hmm. So then we had the funeral the next day, and the priest who was officiating had asked me to speak about how Mick and I had met because it was kind of part of his storyline. And at first I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't know. I'll just start crying. I don't know if I can do it. Yeah. But then I chose to, just getting myself settled there. But I did do it. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't hard. It was actually kind of a relief to be able to say something because, it's a funny story, and I'm not going to say it right now, but if you want to hear it, talk to me. No.
You're writing about it in the book, so
yeah, it'll be in the book.
You'll have to buy Dan's book for sure.
You'll have to, yeah. Yeah, Mick and I had a fun relationship, and I really appreciated that. Mm-hmm. So, as time went on, though, all of a sudden I was like, whoa, because during that time, we had a lot of help because Mick was a hoarder. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I had just asked that we'd get the driveway where he had put some stuff there cleared out, and a bunch of friends and firefighters had come over because Mick was a firefighter, and they cleared that out. And then they saw the inside of the garage, which is a 3-car garage, and it was full. And they said, do you want us to clean this out? And I was like, boy, yes, I do.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing. It took 3.5 days.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get one of those big containers. And then, so that felt really good. And then they also helped us with our basement, which was also full. That was really helpful. Then the other piece was he hadn't done our taxes. And I found that out like maybe a week and a half after he had passed. I'd gotten some stuff from the IRS or Minnesota. And I was like, oh my gosh, blessing though. My brother is an accountant and he helped me through it.
Yeah.
And saved me thousands and thousands of dollars. And I still owe him a beer, but and he laughs about that. Then the journey, all of a sudden it was like, oh, now what?
Yeah.
Now what? Because how was I financially secure? I was very fortunate that I had a friend who helped me kind of set that up.
Mm-hmm.
And was looking at it. It's like, yeah, I can do this. But then there was also like the fear of what I didn't have. But anyway, just going through that, all of a sudden it hits you. I mean, it's like that slap in the face. You're like, oh my gosh, this is real. It really happened. He's gone.
Yeah.
And also, the fact that he took his life, I really struggled with that.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't believe this beautiful man would do that. I
Yeah.
just couldn't believe it. So that was another piece there that I had to come to terms with. And of course, there was could I have done something different? What else could I have done? I'm a life coach. I could have really helped him, all the stuff. But then I was like, okay, I went to what I knew. Thank God I had the life coaching background
Mm-hmm.
and I had amazing people surrounding me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say you were definitely one of them. And but I stepped into, from one of my learnings from Mary Morrissey, was a program we have called Standing Firm When Your World is Shaking. And that's part of what we call the dark night of the soul. And I thought, okay, I'm in that space right now. I'm going to go look that over again. And of course, you see it very differently when you're experiencing it.
There's a difference between cognition, right?
Yep.
And knowledge, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
knowing it. There's a difference between knowledge and knowing
Yes.
in your soul and being able to act in that space. And I'm sure that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you possibly, because you and I both are so just thirsty for knowledge.
Yes, we are.
We probably at times we're like, okay, I'm glad I have this. And then at times, like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Like there's probably waves that went into both of those things.
Yes.
That I'm guessing.
Yes. Well, too, the one thing that stuck with me is, when you're in the bottle or in the jar, you don't see the label,
Right.
because you're going, everything rises up, and it's really scary place to be. It wasn't where I wanted to be, and I knew that. So when I went and checked that out, what really hit me was, and this has been a real blessing for me, is hard things are going to happen to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of life. And we get to decide how we're going to respond to that. And the other piece was too, that looking for the silver lining in it. And that was the hardest part of all, because I'm like, okay, what is the silver lining right now? I thought, okay, that's going to come. That's not something that I have to know right this minute. And that really helped me too, because I knew that it was how I thought about it. And I got to decide if I was going to be the victim or the victor. And the piece that really got me was, I can sit in sadness and grief, and that's okay. It's a space where I had to be. But while I was there, it didn't mean I couldn't find some joy and happiness in my life.
Yeah.
And I got to decide that every day when I woke up. I'd be like, okay, who do I get to be today? And did I acknowledge when I would slip into those really hard places? They'd hit me at a time where I didn't even know it was going to happen. I'd be like, whoa, how come it showed up right now? And I remember one day I thought I was doing really well, and I was going down the steps, and all of a sudden it was like, I just started crying. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I decided I'm going to just have my own little pity party right now. And I just shut the door, turned off everything, and just allowed myself to be in that space.
Yeah. I'm sorry, keep going.
Nope, that's okay.
I guess there's a couple of things that you're saying that I really want to highlight. So one thing that I see with people like us, and I raise my hand as guilty as charged here, that sometimes when we know so much about personal development and the brain and healing, and we have all this book knowledge, that when we have hard days, we can really be hard on ourselves. Like
Yes.
I've been there where I'm like, I should know better. I remember doing a podcast during COVID when it was called the Unstuck podcast. And I remember feeling like such a hypocrite because here I was, doing the Unstuck podcast and I was freaking stuck. And then all I did is I get myself caught up in this shame cycle of I should know better. I have all the tools. What's wrong with me? And really being like hard on myself for when I'm having a hard day. Did that happen to you?
Yes, it happened a lot. And even when I thought I was doing well, that's what it was hard. So hard was like, hey, I've gotten through this so far.
Yeah.
And then boom. And I realized too that a lot of the times I was really suppressing my emotions.
Yes.
And that was, when I finally realized that, I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the realization of that really opened the door for me
Yeah.
that, you know what? Let's see what emotions I'm really suppressing. So I was able to dive down into that and deal with it because it wasn't in a happy place. And that was why stuff kept rising up all the time because I hadn't allowed it.
Dealing with it, right? And that's
Mhm.
the things that we can get caught up into this like place where I should be strong and I'm not. So we should ourselves and shame ourselves into just being a normal human being. But also I think what I see happening a lot with people is that we fear that if we allow ourselves to fully tap into our emotions, that we're
Mhm.
going to lose control and not get ourselves back out of that. And so I'm afraid that if I allow myself to be sad, then I'm not going to get out of that sadness. Was that something that you felt as well?
Oh, yes. I just was like, am I ready to face this? It's too big. It's too overwhelming. And I didn't know if I'd be able to deal with it. But when I had that realization, I allowed myself to. I allowed myself to face my biggest fears.
Yes.
And they still rise up. It doesn't matter, but at least I know I have the tools to do it. And part of this too, LaChelle, was as we were going through this, I remember signing up to be part of your program. And I thought, okay, this is a good place where I need to be. I knew that. And that was such a blessing. And then you had the Costa Rica retreat. And I thought, you know what? Travel has always been on my mind. And Mickey didn't like leaving the States. He didn't mind travel, but he didn't like leaving. And I thought, now I'm going to take advantage of that. And that retreat was such a blessing to me. Your retreats are so amazing. I've been on, 5 now, but, but I learned something every single time. Even though I know a lot of the stuff, you still pick up on different things. But that trip was where I faced one of my biggest fears was heights, and I actually jumped off that cliff into the water. Oh, and that whole story around that was just, oh my gosh, I could get into that. But just knowing that I could do that was a huge piece of part of my my healing and my journey.
Yeah.
Knowing that I could do it. Did I want to do it again? Probably not, but I was able to do it. Plus, we were doing the zip lining, which was scary for me too, but
Yes.
I did it. I did it. And I think too, is just stepping into the things that you fear. And
Yeah.
that really helped. And some of the things that happened there was I got to bump into Mickey
Yeah.
in a beautiful way, and my mom, because
Yep.
she had passed just 6 months or 6 weeks prior to Mickey.
Yeah.
Very unexpected. And that was such a blessing and reassuring.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna tell a real quick story that happened maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks after Mick had passed. My garage door wouldn't go down, and I was like, oh shoot, it was becoming November then, and I ran outside, and I had to run and push the button so it would go down, and I had to run through the house to get to the. And I thought, okay, I need to get this set. So that night, I said, remind myself to ask Steve, Mick's cousin, to help me with this garage door. So I'm laying there, and the next morning I wake up and I went, oh, that's right, the garage door. And then all of a sudden, I heard this voice, and it was Mickey's voice, and he said, check the sensors. And I started laughing and crying at the same time because I thought, of course you would say that because he was Mr. Fix It.
Yeah.
And I just went, oh, there you are. You're still supporting me. You're still taking care of me. And I love that. Just talking about it makes me kind of emotional.
Yeah.
So I went and told Steve, I said, Steve, I got a story to tell you. And so I mentioned it to him. He goes, well, we better fix the sensors. And I'm like, bingo. But just that right there was part of the journey too, because apparently I was open enough to hear him.
Yes.
And that's part of that high vibe.
Mhm.
So I was blessed that I had that high vibe at a point where I wasn't sure if high vibes were in my life at that time, because it was a hard
And
time.
so there are rewards to allowing
Yes.
yourself to get there. And I'm sure that, with the grieving journey, gosh, there's so many things I want to go down this, but with the grieving journey, I think, again, so many of my clients present with shame and guilt. Like, I feel guilty for having joy and for having a
Yeah.
good day, or for doing okay. Like, I feel I shouldn't be as good as I am. And I know that you had a conversation with somebody at your mailbox where they're like, I'm surprised that you're doing as well as you are, almost like it was a bad thing. But
Right.
but you were able to stay one foot in front of the other, allowing yourself to still have your down moments,
Yeah.
but allowing yourself to stay in high vibes as much as you could, so that you were open spiritually,
Yes.
able to be given that message and to be able to have that connection. And that has been a theme that I've seen over and over and over again with you on this journey, is that
Yes.
reward of that connection with him in spirit,
Oh,
since you've been able to do that.
yeah. It happens almost daily.
Yeah.
And sometimes not, but just little signs even, everybody knows that the cardinal is kind of one of the things, but
Yeah.
I have cardinals flying up to my window, fluttering in front of it, looking at me. I'm kind of like, oh, hi, Mick, or else it's mom. I don't know which, but I'm pretty sure it's Mick, because I really get a different feeling with him, because I feel this big warmth, a
Yeah.
rush of warmth in my heart. It's just love. And I'm so grateful for that. Then he's shown up when I might not have been in a high vibe. And you're aware of this because it happened with you the first time, where you go, Jan, we were on a Zoom call. Mickey's here. I was like, what?
I know, right?
Why
Jan
isn't he talking to me?
brought out gifts that I didn't know I had. We'll say that.
Yes.
One of the things that you mentioned is when you and I jumped off that cliff when we were in Costa Rica, which, you guys, I am like the least coordinated person ever. Literally, I broke my foot last summer just walking through a parking lot. Like, who does that? And so I was standing on the edge of this cliff, and I just think this is a fun story, but like, I'm looking down and I'm seeing this like protrusion of the rock, and I'm like, I am going to be the one person that hits that. I was terrified, and I didn't realize that you were, even more scared of heights than I was. And so the fact that you jumped first is, thank you for that. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that I think that, we're going to get into in a moment different tools that you've used with
Yes.
both of your life coaching experience that you were able to implement in this place. But I think that this is an important point, is that sometimes, friends, we have to just be willing to see an opportunity in front of us and say yes to it. Because you and I never had planned that part of the biggest life-changing moment of this retreat was going to be this moment. And here's the thing, guys, like, when we go on these international retreats, if you have the opportunity to join me a day ahead if you want to, and you have an opportunity to join me on an excursion if you want to. It's kind of one of those things. And so some people had not come early. Some people stayed back at the villa. Some people, there were 4 of us that actually went ziplining. So it wasn't even part of my curriculum. It just happened to be an experience that turned into a life-changing experience for you, because you seized the moment of it. And so sometimes I think that as you're going along in life and things are hard, be open to the cool ways that the universe and God is going to send you healing moments, and be willing to step into them. It doesn't all have to be this cookie cutter textbook tools. It's a more of like an openness to like how healing can take place, just as it presents itself to you, if you're willing to say yes.
Yes, totally. And, just thinking about jumping off that cliff, because I remember standing there thinking, I could stand up here for an hour being
Mhm.
terrified,
Mhm.
or I can just get it over with.
Yeah.
So I went, you know what? I counted to 3 and jumped.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that really wasn't so bad.
Right.
It
Right.
wasn't so bad.
Like,
And it really was, it let me let go of some of that fear, and letting go is such a huge piece of what I have gone through.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Just a huge piece of that. And I'm so grateful that I've had such great support, because I worked with a couple life coaches, and I continue to in a lot of ways, because I just know that doing it alone isn't always the way to go. I know I'm not alone, and I'm very fortunate, and now I'm just kind of at the end of training for the spiritual psychological stuff. And
Yeah.
that has been such a blessing for me too, because it's really helped me with some of the trauma that has been around this.
Yes, 100%.
And even some that I wasn't even aware of. That's
Right?
wow,
It's
Mhm.
so wow. And that actually brings me to kind of my next kind of point that I want to acknowledge as I've listened to you speak, right?
Yeah.
When you talked about not only did you have to deal with the death of your husband, you had to deal with the compounded complexity of the fact that it was with suicide that he left.
Yes.
And so then there's that heaviness alongside of now acknowledging. And, this was something that maybe a lot of people didn't know, that Mickey struggled with hoarding. And now here it is, like, can't ignore it. It's here.
Right.
Now I'm left to deal with this by myself. And then you
Yes.
find out about the tax situation. And so I'm picking up on sadness and sorrow. I'm picking up on confusion and anger. I'm picking up
Yeah.
on just like fear of how am I going to take care of myself, because you had you had a retirement and everything was set there, and you had, your life coaching business, but now all of a sudden you have money that is owed. So you aren't as financially well off as you thought you
Yeah.
were. And all of the fear and the stress that comes with all of that, there's a lot of emotion. And I think that oftentimes it's easy for us to, when I say stay in high vibes, people just think that we need to plaster on this happy smiley face sticker onto our face and just like show up every day like, nothing's happening. But we do have to face our feelings and deal with them, or otherwise they get stuck in our body
Bingo.
energetically, and they disrupt our health physically. They disrupt our ability to cope with anything else. They disrupt our vibrational patterns. So our manifestation is impacted. There's so much that happens when we don't deal with our emotions. And you got to face that fear and really tap into those. And
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, because one of the biggest things that it's kind of one of those things, guys, where sometimes what your friends need, but it's really scary to kind of push gently to where they need to go. And that not only, so one of the things inside of Spiral Up, our clients get a chance to have what we call E4 trauma coaching one-on-one. And I wanted Jan to be one of my chosen coaches for that. But that meant that she had to go through the training.
Mhm.
And within that subconscious release training, the E4, you have to address your trauma in a place where you face it so much that you neutralize it energetically before you can shift
Yes.
it. And that was a really hard thing I was asking you to do.
It was.
You're like swearing my name. Okay.
No, I just kind of was like, it was almost like I could feel someone pushing me and my heels were in, but I knew I wanted to do it because I definitely wanted to work with you and I wanted to help other people. And if that was the way to do it, then that was okay. But it took me a while to really get comfortable with it and feel okay tapping into that, because a lot of times you got to kind of go back into the pain.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh God, do I want to do this again? And I found out it worked. That was the beauty of it. It was like, okay, I'm able to let this go. And also knowing too that I know it's still going to show up, but I was able to neutralize it for myself because I knew how to do that then. And that felt really good, because letting go, that feeling of letting go, just the relief of it was the best part. Just knowing that I didn't have to hang on to it. And the one thing too, and I'm just going to bring this up now, I don't know why it came to me, but a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's so sad and everything. And I said, the one thing that kind of sustains me is none of us get out of here alive. And we don't. And I thought, okay, so I can accept the fact that he's passed. It was harder to accept how he passed. I was like, this was his time. And I've learned to accept that, because I still have so many amazing memories. And I've got 2 children and 4 grandchildren. And I just got to say, my granddaughter, who was about 2 when he passed, or 3, I can't remember, almost 3. And she, because she's so open and in high vibes all the time, she'll come up some stairs and she goes, "Oh, that grandpa, he's got such a silly mustache." And I said, "Ava," I go, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "Were you just hanging out with grandpa now?" "Yeah,
Oh my
we were together when she was playing." And she just goes, "He just has a silly mustache." And I go, "He always did, didn't he?"
Yes,
"Yeah," he makes me
love our
laugh.
mustache, guys.
He
Like
did.
the signature look that Mickey had, and so
It
like,
was so him. Yeah.
well, goodness, it's so beautiful because you are now at the place where you're able to just see and accept all of the
Yeah.
blessings. It
Yes.
doesn't diminish the fact that you miss him. It doesn't diminish the fact that you've gone through any of this stuff. And like I said, Jan, people have commented, from visiting the line at the wake to your neighbor meeting you at the mailbox to people consistently saying, "Jan, wow, like you really do inspire me of how
Yeah.
well you're doing." And I love that you and I, because I'm so close to you, like I know
Yes,
I've been there with you,
you have.
holding you, sitting with you, crying with you in your really hard days. Laugh and cry because I love
I
you.
know.
But um, so we're acknowledging that there have been hard days.
Yes.
But the fact is that you keep every day waking up and
Mhm.
choosing to be who you want to be
Yes.
while still allowing yourself to feel. And I want
Yes.
to know, Jan, like for those people who are listening, because again, like you've been able to continue to inspire people, you continue to show up and you speak, you're writing a book, you're writing actually about to start your second book, which is so
Yes, I am.
you continue to show up for my clients, our clients, because we're in
Yeah.
I am like 5 9 together, but you keep showing up, and I'm sure that people want to listen and want to hear, what tools other than what we've already talked about have you utilized from all of your training and your life's wisdom, because you're one of the
Yes.
wisest people I know. Tell us
Oh,
some of the other things.
that would make my children laugh. But
I do. I tell Kelly and Jesse all the time how much I love you, so they get to hear it again. But
yes.
tell us some of the tools, Jan, that you wrote about in your book, and that's not quite out yet, guys. But we
Yeah.
will definitely make sure that you know what it is. By the way, I kidnapped Jan. I brought her to my lake house one weekend when I was on call for anesthesia, and told her that it's time we get this big book out. So I
It was
kidnapped
the
her,
push I needed.
her hostage in my lake house, and every time I get called to the hospital, I'm like, "All right, here's your homework."
Yeah.
How I
And
get
I
back.
did it. I did it.
It's so fun. So
It was a real growing time for me.
people are like, "Dang, I don't know if I want this LaChelle lady in my life." Like she pushed.
No, just being with you, LaChelle, though, always keeps me up here, because we do have fun and we do laugh and we do talk about hard things, but we do it in a way that there's solutions. It's not about the problem, it's about how we can move toward that. And that's part of what I've done is like, there's 2 ends of a stick. I can be super sad, I can be grieving, yes, and that's okay. But the other end is, hey, joy, happiness. That's where I want to be. So that's where I put my focus is what brings me joy, what makes me having fun. I love to have fun. I love to get together with people. So it was just keeping myself in a place where I could do things I loved. And one of the things that I had kind of taken a back seat to was I always loved doing art, and my teacher was like, "Oh my gosh, you're doing so well." And I kind of let it go. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I keep getting that urge. Let's go back into that, do some painting, and I've got a couple paintings in my house that I did, but I really want to explore that again because when I'm in that creative space, then I'm in that high vibe.
Yeah.
And that's when the good things happen. That's when the great ideas come.
Yeah.
And, singing too, another thing, because I kind of quit doing that. And now all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I'm the only one in the house. The only one who has to hear me is me. So I'll be singing, and my cat. And that she might howl with me. I don't know. But it's kind of just keeping myself in a joyful place and finding out what those things are.
Yeah.
The other piece is realizing when I'm starting to be so hard on myself, because if anybody's hard on me, it's me. My expectations for myself are way higher than anybody could put on me.
Mhm.
And learning that all the dang shoulds, oh my gosh, that one was a real tough space for me for quite a while. I
Yeah.
was shooting myself almost to the point of just ugh, overwhelm. It was so big. And I'm just fortunate though that now I'm catching myself when I am doing the shoulds, and I've come up with a way to just go, all right, what are the two things I really get to do today?
Mhm.
What do I focus on? And then what else can I do for fun? Or what else would I love to do? Because there might be more. And, working on the book has been a real blessing
Yeah.
because I got to go through those feelings, but just stopping and realizing where I'm at. Because I remember one day I was sitting there and all of a sudden my inner voice was just not being nice to me. And I just went, whoa, did I just say that to myself? I would never say that to anybody else. Why am I doing it to me? And it was like this huge wake up call because I didn't even realize I was doing that.
Mhm.
And that woke me up too. It was just like listening. And then, knowing that I have a connection and that I have so much power,
Mhm.
and just realizing what that power can do for me.
Yeah.
And not just for me, but for the people around me.
Mhm.
And that to me is so important when I get to serve, when I get to help somebody. And
Mhm.
I'm so grateful that I have the skills to be able to do that, that I'm putting it there. And it's just, I'm trying to explain, but it's right here.
Yeah.
But I just know that, well, I'm going to say it, shit just works out for me.
Yes, it does.
It just works out for me. And when I put that out there, and
Yeah.
then leaning into that gratitude, just what am I grateful for? Wow, I had an amazing life with Mick.
Mhm.
I mean, sure, we had our ups and downs. That's just the
Right.
way life is. But grateful for the people I have around me. And I've said this so many times, I'm a very fortunate woman in the people I get to have in my life. Wow, I am so lucky. And I just love that I get to do that. I think a lot of it is just looking at who I want to be
Yeah.
and who I get to be and following that, because I'm not going to worry about the how. And that's what I was doing for quite a while there because I wanted control, because I
Yeah.
was scared. I wanted to be safe and comfortable.
Mhm.
But after a while, I was like, I am not happy here in this safe place because I wasn't growing and stretching. And that's what really helped me to
Mhm.
move out of that, was that realization and just showing up whenever I had a chance to be around people who, because it's the five people you hang around with the most.
Absolutely.
I've got probably 30 of them. So, and they're all amazing. So that also helps. But I think that was part of it too. But the tools is just catching myself when I'm seeing myself going down that slippery slope, knowing that, like I said, everything's going to work out,
Mhm.
and letting God lead me.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times I would back off and like, no, I don't want to do that. That doesn't feel safe. That doesn't feel comfortable. And when you do take that step, even if it's just a little teeny tiny one,
Mhm.
it opens the door for the next. And I don't have to worry about the how, because I was worried about that. Even though I knew better,
Mhm.
I still clung to that. Oh, I know how this is going to work. And I didn't.
Mhm.
And I've been surprised so many times as I go through this journey
Yeah.
that I can, I get to decide who I get to be.
Yep.
And I get that guide. And sometimes when I put it out there, I put out what I would love, but then I always allow spirit,
Mhm.
source, to even show me what else is there, this or
Right.
something better.
There's a
And I
Yeah.
look forward to that. And when that shows up, I'd be like, oh, and grateful every time something like that happens, and
Mhm.
just knowing that I'm okay and I'm
Absolutely.
going to be okay.
And you highlighted a couple of the other steps to the manifestation equation that I'm just going to acknowledge really quickly. One of
Sure.
them is to believe without doubt. Really, what that means is that it's allowing full trust
Yes.
to
Oh, that,
come seen, right? So it's like when you're being led towards something, you're being pulled towards it. It's like, oh, that feels scary. That doesn't feel safe. It's trusting. that
Mhm.
not only can it be okay, but it can be okay for me.
Yes.
And then the next one is taking aligned, inspired action
Mhm.
without an attachment to the outcome. It's
Yes.
just taking the steps, knowing that everything's going to work out, that shit just works out for me, that
Yep.
everything's going to be at least this or something better. And that's what
Yes.
we've been doing. And it's just so fun because I've gotten to see that you're living a full life, lady. Like
I
you are living
am.
a full life. You're traveling the world. You're
I
helping
am.
left and right. You get to say yes to what you want to. You have a brand new grandchild that you get
I
to spend time
do.
with. Like there's so much that you have going for you. And
Yeah.
it's because of these choices. And that's what I think, you guys, I want you to hear. Jan, what is the title of your book going to be?
Journey to Joy.
Journey to Joy.
Yeah.
One of the key things that she talks about is this choosing.
Mhm.
Choosing. And one of the greatest resources, you guys, one of my favorite leadership books and self-leadership books of all time is called The Oz Principle. And The Oz Principle talks about how I get to choose between being a victim
Mhm.
and getting into a blame cycle and life isn't fair and all the things, because you know what? Life isn't fair. But I can either stay in the victim cycle or I can take the line above that to what can I do with what I have,
Mhm.
where I am, to take
Exactly.
step to choose. Do I want to be a victim or a victor? And you've said this several times, and I want to highlight this, you guys, because every single day is a choice. And it doesn't mean I just mentioned this with the interview that I had with Christina. Like, it doesn't mean that I get to gloss over and pretend like everything's fine. And
No.
and and there's a difference between positivity, ignoring things and just pretending things are fine, and being optimistic, which is like, hey, life sucks right now, but I know that it's going to be better. And I'm choosing to
Mhm.
find things that I'm grateful for. I'm choosing to take a step here. I'm choosing to allow myself to feel this, knowing
Yes.
that it's not going to last forever. I'm choosing to lean into this opportunity that presents itself, even though it's scary. I'm
Yes.
choosing to, all the things. And that's what I hear when I hear you talk. And it's
Yes.
so
And just thinking about that too, because, when I talk about the dark night of the soul, it's going to show up.
important.
And it might be little and it might seem big. It depends on how you choose to look at it. And that little piece where knowing that something's coming, but welcoming it for what you're going to grow from, what you're going to learn from it. And that took me a little while to really figure that out, to really learn that and to believe it. Even though I knew it, I
Yeah.
didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? So that was a blessing to know that no matter what I do, I'm going to be okay. I
Yeah.
can get through it. And it was like that other saying that I often say to myself, and I've been doing this for years, is this too shall pass.
Mhm.
And it could be something good and it can be something bad, but we're always growing and changing. And
Everything's fleeting. My
mhm,
best month financially is going to pass. My worst
right.
month financially is going to pass.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
I think about that all the time. Like, I look at kids right now and it's like, yes, they're my everything, but they're not going to be here in my house forever. So this
Right.
too shall pass. And so when we cling on to so much in the physical world,
Yep. Yep.
we give ourselves this illusion of safety and security that this too shall pass. And that's such a wise way to look at things, Jan.
Yeah. I remember doing that even before I was life coaching, but it helped me go through life
Yeah,
knowing that, okay, this is a hard thing, but I know it's going to be over. And what am I going to learn from it?
right.
Wow. I was wise even back then. Holy cow. No,
Yeah, right. And Kelly
wait
and
a
Jackie,
minute.
listen to this. Your mom is very wise. So, Jen, I that's one of the things I'm just honestly like I could pinch myself how grateful I am that I have the team of people that work with me. And so when our clients come in through Spiral Up and they get the chance to work with you specifically and help to unwind some of the subconscious beliefs, and knowing that
Mhm.
if somebody comes to me that is in business that wants to learn how to unravel the things that are holding them back from success, if they've been in a situation where they've had loss, that they have somebody in our program that they can really that
Oh, yeah.
understands where they're coming from. And I just thank you for just being willing to share and mentor and coach the people that have come into our
Oh,
program, because as you know, one of my 7 keys to success is conquer. And the
yeah.
last key is conquer, which means I'm able to conquer the things that are thrown at me, life's, right?
Yeah.
How do I stay in high vibes as much as I can? And you're a huge part of that tool. And I just want to say thank you
Thank you.
for
Yeah. And, it's a blessing to me. Totally. First I get to work with you, and then I get to work with all these amazing people and helping them. And to me, that right there, even if it's just one person that I can make a difference in their lives by, and I'm not saying I'm making the difference, but I can give them the guide to lead themselves to that.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one more tool I use though is my
Good.
physics.
I was
Just gonna say that has helped me too.
So is there because I was just going to ask you, is there anything else that we have to touch on that you want to make sure?
It seems like there was so much that I learned through this whole process, but I think the main thing is the acceptance of where I'm at, what I get to do, what I get to learn, what I have learned, that knowing that even though it seems hard, because it's part of life, it's that journey we're on, and I am going to enjoy my journey. And it was, for a while there, I was not, because it was a place I didn't want to be, but now I see where it brought me, and I'm so grateful for that. So I'm going to just kind of hang on to that, was I can move through that. And I have more specific things I could talk about, but that to me was the biggest eye opener that really helped me through this, is that life is a journey, and it's the experiences that really help us, that teach us. And you get to decide what kind of journey you're going to have. I can make myself miserable, I can suffer, or I can say, wow, look what I learned from this. This is leading me here. So that's my biggest takeaway of everything. And that I still get to have a relationship with Mick. It's just not the one that I had expected.
And in some ways, it's actually been, I mean, we could talk obviously for hours and hours and hours, but there's some ways it's even been even more powerful than
totally.
So
yeah, he shows up at the darndest times. But he seems to show up as a bird a lot. And I don't know if you have time for the owl story, but that one was powerful to me, because it was the realization for two people that you wouldn't think would understand that it was Mick showing up as this owl, this where he had passed. And this Dan had called me. He goes, Jan, there's this owl. This rare owl that's hanging out where Mick had passed. And I was like, really? He goes, I know it's Mick. I know it's Mick. And people were driving by trying to see this owl because it was that rare. And then another friend who was also a firefighter, and he's also a naturalist, he's like, I got to go see this owl. So he did. And he saw the owl. He determined it was like a certain kind of short-eared owl that you never find in Minnesota, I guess. So he drove home, and that owl followed him home, which was like maybe 2 miles away. I don't know for sure. And he said the owl kind of just sat on a post or something and just hung out with him for a little bit. And he goes, okay, that's Mick. He knew it. And these are people who might not really believe in that stuff, but he knew. And so he flew back. So I'm like, I'm going to go see this owl. So I went, and it was dusk, and I drove up, and I thought, oh, I hope I get to see it. And as soon as I kind of hit the area, all of a sudden this owl flies out of the ditch, and I knew it was it. And it flew right to the spot where Mick had taken his life. And I was like, whoa. And I just sat there for a while, and then I decided, and Dan had planted a tree there for Mickey. So, but anyway, I drove away, and I was waiting for it to show up again. And as soon as I started driving my car, it flew parallel with me to the end of the field or whatever. And I was like, okay, thank you. And he had told me that he had brought that for us so we would know. And I thought, okay. And it seems woo-woo, but no, it's not. It's so true.
Thing, you guys, is that what I teach, what Jan and I both embrace, is this collaboration with spirit when we are building our business, when we recognize that we can take aligned, inspired action that's driven by our highest self, by God, by spirit. And so tapping into this is part of what I teach to keep people out of burnout. And it's just so cool how, because we recognize the spiritual side of this, how it's been able to show up in so many different ways with you. And
Yes.
oh my gosh, I love this so much. I think we're just going to have Jan back on the show so we can
We could go on forever.
we could go on forever, you guys. And Jan, I want to say thank you. Thank you for just being so inspirational. Thanks for being a part of my life. And so you guys will have access to all the ways that you can follow Jan, connect with Jan in the show notes, and make sure that you get on my email list so that you can know when Jan's book releases, because I will be shouting that from the rooftop. That sucker gets out there. And if you are feeling like this is something that you're being led to, and you're like, I wonder if what we do inside of Spiral Up is something that could help you, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and apply for one of our 5-figure month strategy calls so that you can hear a little bit more about what we do and see if it's aligned with the life that you want. And if you feel like things have been happening in your life that have kind of knocked you off of your game, this is exactly the home for you. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you had an amazing time like I did. Jan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And I will see you guys all next week. Bye, everybody. So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.